दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना। दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना। ईमान में वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना। ईमान में वक्त से एक रिश्ता।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome everyone to FS for Kids, where we here at MTA bring you the wonderful guidance of beloved Hazur's Friday sermon. You guys know we don't do this here alone. To my right is Atar and to his right is Waleed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam, Rabbi Sahib.
Now everyone, in this week's Friday sermon, beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper, spoke about the continuous blessings and progress of Ahmadiyyat and how people from all over the world are accepting the true message of Islam Ahmadiyyat.
हज़रत मसीह मौऊद अलैहिस्सलाम जमात पर अल्लाह ताला के फ़ज़ल और इसके बढ़ते चले जाने का ज़िक्र फरमाते हुए एक जगह फरमाते हैं कि ये भी अल्लाह जल्ला शानहू का बड़ा मौज़ा है कि बावजूद इस कदर तकज़ीब और तकफ़ीर के और हमारे मुखालफों की दिन रात की सर तोड़ कोशिशों के ये जमात बढ़ती जाती है.
All right, everyone. For this week, we're going to talk about some amazing stories told to us by beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper. But before we get to those stories, I must ask my panelists, guys, did you get a chance to watch this week's Friday sermon?
Alhamdulillah, I watched all of it.
Same here. I listened to all of it as well.
Alhamdulillah. So, any newly learned points?
One thing I learned in this week's Friday sermon was that a man from Congo opposed the Jamaat very much, but when he heard some of the teachings, he accepted Ahmadiyyat right away.
This week I learned that the promised Messiah ﷺ once said that it is a great miracle that despite great opposition, this community continues to thrive and progress.
Amazing points, you guys. And now, it's time to hear all of your newly learned points. And for that, we go straight to Kids Take.
Rabbi told us about that Allah Ta'ala was always here for Jamaat.
Telling many stories about Allah Ta'ala guiding people to Islam Ahmadiyyat. Beloved Hazur, Ayat al-Qudsi's told us that we should instill in our future generations that though there may be difficulties, this is the true Jamaat that will always progress as promised by Allah Ta'ala. Jazakallah.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In today's Friday sermon, beloved Hazur told us that no matter how hard enemies try to stop us, Jamaat is progressing to fulfill Allah Ta'ala's promise in I shall cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth. Jazakallah.
From the Friday sermon, I learned that Allah Ta'ala will always protect our Jamaat, inshallah.
Jazakallah ahsan al-jaza everyone for sending your Kids Takes. We love hearing from you. And for whatever reason, if you weren't able to send one in this week, please be sure to send in one next week. You guys make this segment. So again, if you didn't send one this week, be sure to send in one next week so we can include you in next week's Kids Take. And now we go back to our discussion.
Rabbi Sahib, I was so inspired to learn about the miraculous ways in which Allah the Almighty guides people from every single corner of the world to Ahmadiyyat. Some places I've never even heard of before.
Exactly. It really goes to show how Allah fulfilled His promise to the promised Messiah ﷺ when He said, I will cause thy message to reach the corners of the earth.
Absolutely, you guys. And even in the beginning of the sermon, Hazur quoted the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, who explained the wisdom behind this. He said that God the Almighty grants success to a community when all of the opponents believe that they can stop it. God the Almighty wants to show them that they can't. He wants to show them that He is on the side of the truth. And in this case, the truth is Islam Ahmadiyyat. And so He does this again by showing the entire world that His support, His blessings, His power, and His aid is with the Ahmadi Muslims.
Alhamdulillah, considering how many people oppose us and our continued success, God is definitely on our side.
Alhamdulillah, He sure is. So, Murabbi Sahib, Hazur Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Asl Aziz mentioned many stories of how Allah the Almighty inspired people living in the middle of Africa to accept Ahmadiyya. Can you tell us a little about that?
Of course, Walid. So Hazur, may Allah be his helper, mentioned an amazing story, as Atar told us a little bit about it in the beginning, about a man in Congo Kinshasa, which is a country in Africa. Now that man was actually an imam, and he was famous for speaking ill about the community. But when our Tabligh team, our local muallim, went to meet him and explained to him about the teachings of the promised Messiah and about the death of Jesus, he immediately understood. And Hazur even talked about such people, that they're not bad people. They just don't know about the teachings of Ahmadiyyat. So when he was taught these beliefs of Ahmadiyyat, he immediately understood. And another amazing instance is from another country from Africa called the Gambia. And what happened here was when our Tabligh team went to a town to do Tabligh to them, to convey to them the message of Islam Ahmadiyyat, they were shocked when they heard the 10 conditions of Ba'ath. They told them that we've never heard anything like this before. And on that day, in that town, 200 people embraced Islam Ahmadiyyat.
That's truly amazing, how Allah Himself inspires people to follow the truth of Ahmadiyyat.
Yeah, and what's more is that the people and their families remain dedicated to Ahmadiyyat, no matter what.
Some would even say that they remain paband on Ahmadiyyat.
They remain what? Hold on, what is that?
I have no idea what that means.
I think we all know what time it is now. Luckily, we have our trusted presenter, Usman. So Usman, take it away with the word of the sermon.
Jazakallah Rabbi Sahib. So guys, the word of the sermon is Baband. The word originates from two Persian words, Ba, which means leg or foot, and Band means to tie or fasten something to something else. So the word Baband literally means that one's legs are tied to something. However, as we have learned many times, we cannot take this literally. To be Baband to something means to be willingly committed and dedicated to a thing with all your heart. When someone is baband to the teachings of Islam, it means they're always trying to follow and practice its teachings, and they cannot be separated from it, just as 2 feet cannot be separated when they are tied together. We can only follow Islam properly if we are always baband to its teachings. That's it from me. Back to you, Murabbi Sahib.
Jazakallah Usman, very nicely done.
Amazing. So, Murabbi Sahib, Hazur Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Asl Aziz mentioned some amazing stories. Are there any more you can tell us?
Yes, we'd love to hear more.
Of course, we can talk about these stories all day. One story that I really liked was Hazur mentioned about a country in Africa by the name of Ivory Coast. And a lot of people accepted Ahmadiyyat in that country. What happened one time was that the local imam of one of our mosques, the Ahmadi mosques, he began harboring some bad thoughts about Ahmadiyyat, and he left Ahmadiyyat. And he went so far in his opposition that he stopped all of the Ahmadis from praying in that mosque. He said, nobody is allowed to come to this mosque anymore. So he forbade all of the Ahmadis from coming there. And so the Ahmadis, they still had to pray. And what they did was that they had some makeshift material lying around. And so they constructed a little shed, and they began offering their prayers in that shed. And Allah the Almighty blessed them so much that not so long after that, they were blessed with a 2-story mosque that was far bigger and more stunning than the previous mosque they already had. So this goes to show the level of support and blessings that Allah the Almighty showers upon the members of the community.
That's incredible. I never get tired of stories like this.
Alhamdulillah, I feel the same way, Walid. Can never get enough of them.
Then you guys will love this next one. And this blew my mind as well. For this, we go back to the Gambia, a country we've already mentioned. And it also has to do with the construction of a mosque. What happened over there was one of the construction workers who the Jamaat employed to construct their mosque was extremely happy that he had the opportunity to build a mosque, to help build a mosque. But he didn't know that we were Ahmadis, and he was non-Ahmadi himself. When he came to learn that he was building a mosque for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, he became extremely upset. He was very mad. So mad that he began breaking the material, breaking the glass that he brought with him to construct the windows of the mosque. And in his rage, he hurt himself, unfortunately. And when he went back home, either that night or a few nights after, he saw a dream. And in that dream, he saw that he was drowning. And the only people that came to his help were the Ahmadi Emir and the Murabbi Sahib that he met before constructing the mosque. And when he woke up, he immediately realized that these people, these Ahmadis, are upon the truth, and I should join them immediately.
Subhanallah. The fact that one day a person breaks the windows of a mosque and the next day he accepts Ahmadiyya as the truth.
Yeah, another clear sign of truthfulness of this community.
I couldn't have said it better, Waleed. And before we go any further, it's time for our very exciting segment, the question of the sermon. All right, everyone, welcome once more to the question of the sermon. And so for this week's question, you guys, Hazur explained that sometimes even good-natured people, they oppose Ahmadiyyat. But Hazur gave a specific reason as to why they oppose Ahmadiyyat. So now the question is, what was the reason that Hazur provided? Was it A, they do it for the attention of others? Was it B, they don't care about Ahmadis? Was it C, they misunderstand Ahmadiyyat? Or was it D, they want to create disorder? So you guys have 10 seconds starting now. Time's up. So, what have you guys got?
I think it's C. They misunderstand.
I also think it's C. They misunderstand Ahmadiyyat.
And you guys are absolutely correct.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, very nicely done.
So Murabbi Sahib, out of all the amazing stories mentioned, there was one Hazur talked about in which a town came to the Jamaat before the Jamaat came to the town. How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, how did they find the Jamaat before anyone even talked to them?
This was a really interesting story, and I'm really glad you guys brought it up. So this happened again in an African country, and Hazur mentioned that our Tabligh team in one of these countries, they were sitting and planning in their local mosque that we're going to go to said and said town and do Tabligh there. And as they were sitting there planning to go to this mosque, the very same people, as you guys mentioned, that lived in that town came to the mosque. And they said that we have heard of you guys, the Ahmadiyya community, and we want you to come to our town and to do Tabligh. And we've also heard that you guys teach children the Holy Quran, and we would love it for you guys to come to our town and teach our children the Holy Quran. And it's so astonishing, as you guys mentioned, that a town that had no idea that the Ahmadis were planning to go to, they themselves approached Jamaat, and they themselves said, come and do Tabligh, come and teach our kids the Holy Quran, which again goes to show the blessings and support of Allah the Almighty all over the world.
Wow, I still can't believe they came to the Ahmadis first, while the Ahmadis were still planning to go preach to them.
You're right. Allah's true Jamaat never fails to see Allah's helping hand at work.
So Murabbi Sahib, in the end, Hazur Aidullah Talib Nasr Aziz mentioned some beautiful things about some Ahmadis that passed away. Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely, he did. In the end, Hazur spoke about four devoted Ahmadis who passed away recently. The first one being Parveen Akhtar Sahiba, who spent a lot of time with Hazrat Amma Jan Raziyallahu Anha, the blessed wife of the promised Messiah ﷺ, from whom she learned many amazing qualities that Hazur mentioned as well. And secondly, Hazur mentioned Mumtaz Wasim Sahiba, who was an extremely devoted Ahmadi and loved Khilafat dearly, so much so that her two sons also became life devotees of the Jamaat. Next, Hazur mentioned Munawwar Ahmad Rana Sahib, who loved Khilafat dearly and would always go out of his way to help people. And last but certainly not least, Hazur mentioned Captain Abdul Shakur Malik Sahib, who passed away in USA. And he was a former captain of the Pakistani army. And when Hazur mentioned that when people found out he was Ahmadi, he remained firm on his belief, and he was very brave. He did not back down from anyone. So Hazur told us about the magnificent and amazing qualities of these four individuals, and about how they never used to miss prayer. They would always recite the Holy Quran every day, and amazing qualities like those. So may Allah Ta'ala enable us to also act upon what those people did. And in the end, Hazur prayed that may Allah Ta'ala have mercy and forgiveness upon them.
Ameen.
Ameen. Now guys, we're at the end of our show for this week.
Well, everyone, don't forget to watch the full khutbah.
And make sure to get back to us too.
And don't forget the old critical message.
Did you enjoy this week's Friday Sermon for Kids? Want to know how you can make it even better? Tell us what you learned from beloved Hazur's Friday Sermon and send your videos at fsforkids@mta.tv no later than every Sunday, and we'll try our best to include them in our next show.
Now, we can't include all the videos you guys sent to us. So you guys can visit our Instagram and Twitter at MTA Canada and see all the videos you guys sent to us. Remember, at Friday Sermon for Kids, you're not just the audience, you make the show.
Okay everyone, it's now time to review our lesson for the week. Pay close attention to the new things we learned about the continuous progress of Ahmadiyyat.
Beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper, spoke about the continuous support and blessings of Allah the Almighty, and how, despite many people trying to stop the spread of Ahmadiyyat, people in even the remotest of villages of Africa are accepting the message of the true Islam. He related numerous stories about how Allah guided people to Ahmadiyyat, ranging from a few people in Congo to an entire town of 200 in the Gambia, accepting the truth as soon as they saw it.
Hazur Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz also related a story from Ivory Coast, where the Ahmadis, who had their mosque taken from them from the local imam, built a small shed to offer their prayers. Allah rewarded them with a beautiful 2-story mosque, bigger and more beautiful than their previous mosque. Hazur Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz also mentioned about a construction worker from the Gambia. When he found out the mosque he was building was to belong to the Ahmadiyya community, he became angry and broke all the windows, even hurting himself in the process. But a few nights later, he saw in a dream he was drowning, but the Ahmadis were the ones to come to his help and saved him, and ended up becoming an Ahmadi himself.
After mentioning unique and miraculous stories of the acceptance of Ahmadiyyat, Hazur Anwar, may Allah be his helper, concluded his sermon by mentioning 4 devoted Ahmadis who recently passed away. Hazur, may Allah be his helper, mentioned their habits of never missing prayer, reciting the Holy Quran regularly, and their unwavering habit in writing letters to the Khalifa of the time and remaining obedient to him in all circumstances. They taught these same values within their children, which include many life devotees. In the end, Hazur, may Allah be his helper, prayed that may Allah forgive them and have mercy on them. Ameen. This was just a glimpse of the light of beloved Hazur's Friday sermon.
So make sure to watch Hazur's full khutbah.
And until next week,
Khuda Hafiz.
मगर है शर्त तुमसे मुसलसल राबता रखना, मगर है शर्त तुम उससे मुसलसल राबता रखना, इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना, दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना, इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना, इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना।